Welcome to the Work Hard, Play Hard podcast. My name is Rob Murgatroyd, and I am a former doctor turned lifestyle entrepreneur. Each week, I interview some of the best minds on the planet on the science of achievement and the art of fulfillment. Today's episode is a mini-sode that we call Fri-Date with the Wife. In these mini-sodes, my wife Kim and I deconstruct the strategies that we've developed over the last decade to not only grow personally, but to turn our struggles into lessons and create fulfillment in all areas of our lives. Excuses are over. It's time to live. Let's dig into today's topic. All right, before we jump into this episode, I want to invite you to be considered for my Work Hard, Play Hard Mastermind by completing an application at workhardplayhardmastermind.com. So this mastermind is not like any mastermind you may have been to or heard of, I promise you. This mastermind is for 6 to 7 figure entrepreneurs that are working too damn much and aren't taking the time to have amazing experiences around the world with an incredible tribe of people. So every 100 days or so, I drop you into new experiences that are specifically designed to elevate your thinking, to give you new ideas. Look, you get your best ideas not staring at a computer. And actually, this is the way high-level people really collaborate with each other. They do it over a glass of champagne, watching the sunset in the south of France. So if you are ready to do some fun stuff around the world and really, really want to level up your tribe in one shot, fill out an application at workhardplayhardmastermind.com. We'll jump on a call and we'll see if it's a good fit. All right, let's jump into today's episode. Well, Kimberly, we don't know what we're talking about today, Murgatroyd. How the fuck are you?
Thanks for that intro. I know what we're talking about.
You do know what we're talking about. Why are you always so calm, cool, and collected? And I walk around like I just had an enema. Like what is it? It's you're in California, it's CBD. That's what it is. That's what it is.
If only that's what it was. No, you know what? What we're talking about today kind of plays into that. I have adopted the...
Oh my God, I thought you were going to say a kid. Okay, good. You've adopted what?
I have one of those.
Okay.
I have adopted the motto of everything is always working out for me.
Uh-huh.
And I have really become
an ambassador of that?
An ambassador of that, but I've become a master of welcoming the contrast. And I know we've talked about this on previous episodes, but I thought today what we can talk about is kind of the art of manifestation in our current situation. So, you know, we talked about the fact that we want to move to Italy? Okay, good.
The last episode, I know it's all coming together, but the last episode was about essentially that. But I'll let you set it up, and then I'll take over everything. Go ahead.
Okay, this is why you twitch. So, yeah, we did talk about that. Okay, so we want to move to Italy, right? And we moved here, and it was like moving a family across the country and finding the house you want to live in from a foreign country, and all of the things that had to happen for that original move from Atlanta, do 4 months in Europe, and then move to California. A lot of things had to happen. And I have to say, it was basically a symphony, and everything worked out. And we weren't sure if it would. I mean, 2 weeks before we got here, we still didn't have a place to live. But what I can look back now and see is that we were guided to be here, and we were manifesting being here. And when people told me that there was no way we were going to find the house with the specifications I wanted, I felt like I was on House Hunters, you know, where it's like, this girl's crazy if she thinks she's getting all of this stuff for that budget. Like, that's what I felt like here, but it worked out. So everything truly is always working out for us. And I feel like we manifested the AF out of California.
Yeah, I cannot highlight enough how you're underplaying the laundry list of requests that you had in this one tiny 1 mile, excuse the douchebaggery here, sought after zip code of Southern California. And you saying, well, I want a backyard. I want
Three bedrooms.
3 bedrooms. Like you went down this list, and I want to pay this much for it.
And we want to walk to the beach.
And it unfolded in a way that, I mean, I can go on and on with the stories about how it unfolded, but here's what I think is important to understand. We were just recording for our Dream Life course. And if you want to get your hands on the free version of our course, you can text the word Dream Life to
310-388-9724.
All right, it should be ready in a couple of weeks. So one of the things we were talking about sort of triggered this conversation. And it's really, really interesting how things will show up. So, to just sort of highlight some of the things that we've talked about, maybe in the last podcast, I don't know. So I'll do it quickly. We're in Southern California. We're like, we love it here. It's great. But there is a piece inside of us that feels like, hey, we'd love to be living in Florence. And trying to reconcile that and going back and forth. I want to live in Italy. I love it here. I want to live in Italy. I love it here. But all that blah, 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 blah. I asked the universe for clarity and for help. And, we had this sort of contrast of living here, liking it, but feeling like there was something missing and we couldn't put our hand on it. And so what started to manifest were 3 things that we just had an aha that happens to help us to make this decision more clear. The first thing is I reached out to a friend who's a coach, and he asked me, now Kim and I had spent, endless amount of hours trying to parse the difference between living in Southern California, the difference in living in Italy, and which one do we want? And I was largely unsuccessful with coming up with something that was making a significant difference in my mind to be able to say, oh, well, clearly here's what's going to happen. We're staying in Southern California. We're not leaving. Or we're moving to Italy. We're like, I was vacillating. I just kept going back and forth. So I reached out to a buddy of mine who's a coach, and I asked him to help. And he came up with one question. And the one question was, if you had 2 years left to live, would you rather live in Florence or would you rather live in Hermosa Beach, where you live now? And the answer for me was instantaneous. And it was the question that I specifically needed to gain clarity. Okay. Then we manifested out of the sky an attorney.
Well, hold on. Before you go there. So that was the decision. Okay. So we made the decision. We got excited about the possibilities. We started reading books. We started looking at apartment rental companies, long-term rental companies in Florence. We started doing the research on, schools, and we started to kind of get excited. Like, we realized at the time it was going to be like 2 or 3 years away and all of that, but we were getting really excited. So we were researching and looking and dreaming and changing our vision board. And we were kind of getting the excitement of it in our body. And we have been working on our Italian citizenship for over a year since we were in Italy. And that's slow going, partly because it's just complicated, other part because the pandemic shut every government office down and you kind of need their help. So that has been really tough, and we weren't sure if we were going to get it. So our attorney in Italy was like, okay, well, listen, if this isn't going to happen, let's jump on a Zoom. He reached out to Rob. He's like, let's jump on a Zoom because the government is changing some laws and I might be able to get you here with an elective residency. And so what Rob was talking about where we manifested him, we truly manifested this guy. We met him in Italy, but it was something so random, like a friend of a friend, when Rob was designing the Work Hard, Play Hard event in Florence, introduced him to a guy and to help with one of the experiences. And this guy said, hey, I think you'd really like my friend Michele. Let me make an introduction. And this guy, Michele, happened to be an attorney that does things like Italian citizenship. And not only was that weird, but Michele ended up being a guy who we watched like a year or two prior on CBS Sunday Morning when they did a little piece on Americans getting Italian citizenship in the EU. We didn't seek him out. We didn't ask for an attorney. It was just I really think you'd enjoy this guy. I want to connect you. And next thing we know, we're in his office talking about Italian citizenship. So it's like one of these things where he literally was placed in our life. We start thinking about citizenship. He's like, let's jump on moving there and really moving there like soon. He's like, the laws are changing. I think I can get you here. And he told me when I did the Zoom with him, he said, okay. And the reason we're telling you all of this is because we want you to see how when you're trying to manifest something, focusing on the why and the fun and the emotion and the positive excitement about it is exactly what you need to do to get the wheels in motion versus truly locking in on the how.
Okay,
Yeah.
so now we got the lawyer, right? And so we did nothing
Check mark got the lawyer.
nothing to manifest the lawyer. So we got the magic question from the guy. Now I reached out to him for sure, but he had the magic question. The lawyer comes, out of literally thin air. And now the lawyer says, well, look, if this citizenship thing doesn't work out for you, you have to show passive income. You have to show a business that you don't operate at all, and that money is coming to you without you having to work. And I was like, okay, well, okay. Where does that come from? It must have been 2 weeks later, our new accountant talks to us and says, hey, I have something that I think works really good for your tax strategy. And it's kind of like, and she goes through the whole thing. And I said, so is this like a business that I basically buy into, but I don't have to do anything and it throws off money each month? And she's like, yeah, I'll throw off about 10 grand a month.
Yeah, it's a passive business.
And I went, that I don't manage? And she's like, no, I do all the managing for you. I said, okay, so I pay this much amount money, and I'm like an idiot here. I pay this much money, I buy this, and it gives me $10,000. She said, yeah, after 6 months, you'll get 10 grand a month. I said, for how long? She said, we'll just keep going. So obviously I did my due diligence. Everything looks good. And so we just this week wrote the check and we invested in the business. In fact, now we're thinking of buying multiple of those businesses. But
that literally just showed up at the exact time.
And by the way, if you want to know more about what that is, text the word biz to that phone number that we said earlier. A lot of people are asking. We're going to be doing a webinar on it.
So now we're sitting here every day and we're dreaming and we're talking about it and we're looking at a map and saying, what side of the river do you want to live on? And now we are doing a Zoom with the school, the international school we want Sophia to go to, because it just so happens that their application deadline is coming up. And so we're like, all of these things are just literally falling into our lap, from the attorney to the school to the passive income that we need for the elective citizenship or the elective visa. And all of these things just keep unfolding. And now, Rob has started a series in Italy where he's interviewing a lot of really unique people that are now living in Italy, mostly in Florence. And a lot of that is falling into his lap as well. And it's one of these things where the manifestation of this is the part people get wrong. You don't just sit on your ass and say, I'm going to have $1 million. I'm going to have $1 million. I'm going to have $1 million. That's not, you don't yell it into the mirror. You don't do that. What you do is you step into the feeling of, you step into the excitement of that goal. What's the goal? Move to Italy, create $1 million, which really is creating like financial freedom. It's not necessarily a number, right? Have this business, be in this relationship. Don't sit here and yell that I am a successful business person into the mirror. You need to step into the feeling, start daydreaming about it. And that is what gets the juice of manifestation flowing. That's the part that, there's like a 5-step creation process, right? Step 1 is to ask. So the contrast comes in. Rob moves to California. It's amazing. It's sunny. It's perfect. Well, where's the contrast? Well, there's a pandemic. Things get shut down. And, he starts to see kind of things for what it is. And, and there's some different things that we won't go into today on it. But the contrast comes in that, okay, we're missing something. We're missing a piece of us. We're missing something we felt when we were in Italy. So we accepted that contrast, which created the clarity to have the conversation with the coach, right? To get us to make the ask. The ask is we want to get to Italy. So the first step is allowing. The second step is get out of the way. I'm sorry, the first step is to ask. The second step is to know that your ask is being answered and to have a belief and an expectation that you will get what you want. An expectation that we will move to Italy. Whatever your thing is, know that whoever you think is on the other side, the energy, the source, the God, whatever, universe, that is working and conspiring in your favor. But it asks you to do one thing, stay in a high vibration state or get yourself there as often as you possibly can.
All right. So now we'll close with this. I'll give you our magic formula. Our magic formula to do this is to get really, really clear on what that vision is. And while you, and write it down, make it a one-page thing. And as you read that vision every day, start to connect to it and say, does this feel contracting to me, or does this feel expansive to me? And keep refining it, because sometimes it may feel contracting with the way you wrote it. So keep refining it. If the essence of what you wrote is expansive, then keep it. And I'll give you an idea of what that means. An idea is something like, Kim and I walk through the streets of Florence and we stop at our favorite coffee shop and we get an espresso after we drop Sophia off at the bus. And we talk about what our day is going to be like. Skipping forward. At night, we will sit on our expansive terrace overlooking 2,000 years of history from our beautiful palazzo in Italy. And as I'm saying these words, I am envisioning myself there. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know what the exact steps are. But when I step into that story, it's a 10 for me on a scale of 1 to 10. It's expansive. It's exciting. And when you step into that, weird things start to happen. As you're in that energy, you start having things that will appear in your life that you in no way would be able to put together to do. No way. It's not, there are too many coincidences, and I can go, like, I'll leave you with this. There's one particular person that every week when I watch YouTube and I look at videos of Tuscany, there's one girl who does this show. She's a YouTuber from Tuscany. As I'm watching this show, I'm falling deeper and deeper in love with Italy. And wouldn't you know that I was 1 point away from her, and next week I'm interviewing her on my podcast. There's no way that would have happened if it wasn't meant to happen. So get lost in the dream. Be open to stepping into your dream. Ask yourself if it's expansive, and just get lost in how good it feels and watch the magic happen.
I love that. And I feel like we should end the show, but I do have one more thing to say.
Fuck, I thought I did really good, and I would prefer.
You like wound it down so beautifully. It was like a song.
Yeah.
But I have an important piece of information I want to relay.
It better be better.
Well, I don't know that it will, but it's important. Are you ready? Okay. So here's the thing where people, I can tell, I can feel you people listening on the other side and going, okay, great. So sit in the grade of whatever it is and step into the energy. Okay, whatever. But how am I going to do it? And the third step to the creation, so the first one is to feel the contrast and let it create the clarity and ask for what you want. That's the first one. The second one is allow the universe to answer and have a belief that it will. The third one is to allow. And allowing is stepping into what Rob's talking about, stepping into the why, stepping into the excitement. The fastest way to stop the manifestation is get caught up in the how. Because the moment I open the laptop and I say how to get a driver's license in Italy, you don't even want to know what you have to do. And basically it's going to take us 5 years. So getting stuck in the how will stop the manifestation every single time, because it brings this stress and the fear and the anxiety and all of those negative emotions, we will figure out how to get a license. It's going to happen, or whatever the thing is. We will figure out the issues. You have to, if you truly want to manifest something, when you find yourself stuck in the how and getting frustrated, go to the why. Go to your why. Go to your excitement. Go to why you want it. Get out of the how, go to the why. That's it.
All right, I think that was pretty good. So
So you're going to one-up me?
No, I'm just not going to edit that out. I'm going to keep it in.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Is that it? Do you have anything else you have to say?
I got to go get Sophia.
You got to go get Sophia. All right, that's it, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye. All right, thanks for listening. If you love this episode and you know someone that needs some help in either stepping up their work hard game or their play hard game, it would mean the world to me if you shared this podcast with them to help me get this movement out there. So if you like what you heard, head on over to iTunes, take 30 seconds, and leave me a 5-star review, and I will be forever grateful. So until the next episode, excuses are over. It's time to live.